Northern Ireland's most popular tourist destination, the spectacular Giant's Causeway.
Disappear into a magical doorway within the rock face here at the Giant's Causeway.
On Northern Ireland's rugged Giant's Causeway, a 20-ton basalt slab once believed to be solid rock was caught on camera swinging open like a door. For 11 seconds, a shadowy figure stepped into the light before the stone sealed shut again, leaving no visible crack behind. Experts were stunned by what this impossible doorway suggested. A hidden chamber untouched by science or legend, but the mystery only deepened when senior geologists scanned the cliff and detected something horrifying inside. Suddenly, the island's greatest myth no longer felt like folklore. It felt alive. The moving stone door. On a quiet autumn evening along Northern Ireland's Giant's Causeway, something extraordinary disrupted the stillness. A drone operated by an electrician named Kieran Doyle captured footage that would shake both science and folklore to their cores. For the first time in recorded history, a massive 20-ton basalt slab, long believed to be solid and immovable rock, swung open like a colossal door. The movement was smooth and deliberate, lasting exactly 11 seconds before the stone returned in perfect alignment, leaving behind no cracks or evidence of disturbance. What made this moment more unsettling was what emerged from the darkness behind the stone. Shadows shifted, and something, or someone, stepped out of the hidden chamber for a brief instant before vanishing into the misty coastal air. Though Doyle initially doubted his own footage, repeatedly replaying the clip revealed an undeniable truth. Beneath the myth and geology lay a chamber that should not exist. Tourists and National Trust rangers nearby reported similar sightings of figures disappearing into the rock wall, fueling stories tied to the legendary giant Finn McCool, the mythical creator of the Giant's Causeway.
The legendary and mythical giant Finn McCool is indeed sleeping within the mountain here.
Yet none expected modern technology to reveal a literal moving door and a secret behind it. The viral clip sent shockwaves through scientific circles, prompting experts from around the world to question everything they thought they knew about this UNESCO World Heritage Site. Amateur footage like Doyle's rarely ends up getting serious scrutiny, especially not from trained geologists. But this time, the massive basalt slab's smooth rotation kind of sidestepped every rule folks normally use to explain volcanic rock formations. The Giant's Causeway had been gone over meticulously for more than 60 years, and nobody ever found a sign of hollow spaces or anything that looked movable. So how could a solid basalt cliff just suddenly act like a mechanical portal decades after it was formed? The movement itself felt too exact, too deliberate, like it wasn't merely erosion doing its slow work or a geological fault line shifting in the dark. Instead, it pushed outward patiently, like a door on an invisible hinge, then shut again with surgical precision. There were no obvious seams, no cracks beforehand or afterward, which is what left both experts and amateurs quietly stumped. Doyle's own experience changed him. He told a friend that after seeing it, he slept differently. Not worse, just lighter, more alert, like something invisible had happened that never fully returned to normal. Before long, the authenticity of the footage was argued, attacked, and defended, all of it at once. Geologists, historians, and yes, giant experts too, kept getting pulled toward the enigma, almost like gravity. Their investigations hinted at far more disturbing findings that were still waiting. That moving stone door wasn't only a geological oddity. It was basically the opening scene in a mystery linking ancient rock, myth, and a secret chamber that had been kept hidden for millions of years. The questions it raised about what might be beyond it would push both scientific thinking and human imagination right up to their limits. The truth behind that basalt door promised revelations that could rewrite not only local legend, but the very history of life on Earth, setting the stage for an unfolding story stranger than fiction. The Giant's Causeway's geological mystery. To appreciate the full shock of the moving door discovery, it's essential to understand the Giant's Causeway itself, an iconic marvel of nature formed some 60 million years ago during intense volcanic activity. The shoreline is famously composed of approximately 40,000 interlocking basalt columns, each shaped into hexagonal pillars that create a surreal, almost otherworldly landscape. This geological formation is the result of lava cooling at an even pace, cracking into painstakingly regular polygons, a natural process studied exhaustively for decades. Scientists have long regarded the basalt cliffs as solid, impenetrable rock with no cavities or hollow spaces inside. Ground-penetrating radar and geological surveys conducted repeatedly over the years confirmed that what you see is what you get, one of the most stable and well-understood volcanic structures on the planet. No prior instrument or text ever hinted at the presence of any hidden chambers or moving sections within the formations. The entire area was considered a continuous mass of cooled lava. Meanwhile, local legend told a different tale, one of Finn McCool, a giant who built the Causeway as a bridge to Scotland. This folklore, colorful and deeply woven into Northern Irish culture, celebrated giants and magic, but stopped short of suggesting secret rooms or mechanical rock doors. Science and myth thus coexisted separately, each explaining aspects of this natural wonder in its own terms. So, the whole revelation of a sliding slab, a moving block, managed to mess up centuries' worth of geological certainty. Like, if a doorway could actually open in what everybody assumed was just solid basalt, then could there be other hidden stuff tucked inside the rock, or whatever? That thought upended expectations, and it made the specialists rethink volcanic rock behavior in a more or less uncomfortable way. Even the suggestion of concealed chambers, especially those sealed for millions of years, started to rattle the most basic geological rules, the ones people usually treat like they're final. And this chamber itself, it wasn't anything like a normal cave or a natural fissure. It was basically perfectly concealed and completely undetectable until the exact moment it opened, which somehow managed to contradict every prior exploration method. The idea of a door carved into a basalt cliff sounds like outright fantasy, not something you'd file under science. Still, there was proof sitting right there, insisting on explanation and somehow giving fresh momentum to the whole messy relationship between legend and geology. Naturally, local guides, historians, and scientists started pouring toward the site, wanting to check it out firsthand and look for any hints of a door or chamber. After that, the Giant's Causeway became more than a heritage landmark. It turned into a centerpiece for mystery and intrigue, pulling global attention far beyond its usual tourist pull. The geological problem just kept widening as experts got ready to install sensors and use ground-penetrating radar, trying to map the chamber's layout and contents and figure out how such an anomaly could stay unnoticed for millennia. What they found, or what they managed to measure, was expected to push the whole situation from curious event into something far, far more profound than anyone was ready for. This intersection of ancient rock formations and inexplicable mechanical movement hinted at a hidden history beneath the Causeway, waiting patiently for the world to discover. The first scan and hidden figures. The morning after the drone footage spread online, Dr. Sarah Brennan arrived at the cliffside to investigate. As a senior geologist who had spent more than 15 years studying the Antrim basalt formations, she was not easily convinced by strange footage or internet speculation. At first, she believed the images were probably a trick of light, shadow, or editing, but once she positioned her ground-penetrating radar toward the cliff face, that confidence began to vanish. The first scan revealed something no one expected. Hidden deep inside the basalt was a hollow chamber, roughly 12 feet deep and 26 feet wide. For Dr. Brennan, the discovery made no sense. Earlier surveys of the area had shown nothing but solid volcanic rock. There should not have been a chamber there at all, especially not one sealed inside the famous black basalt columns of the Giant's Causeway. Then the radar image became even more disturbing. Inside the chamber stood 7 tall figures. Each one appeared humanoid in shape, measuring between 7 and 8 feet high. They stood upright in a precise formation, spaced evenly apart, all facing the same stone door. They were not scattered like broken ruins or buried like ancient remains. They looked placed, ordered, almost waiting. That detail raised a frightening question. How could figures like these exist inside basalt? Basalt forms when molten lava cools and hardens into rock. It does not naturally form around standing objects without destroying them. If these figures had truly been sealed inside the rock, then they would have needed to be there before the lava hardened over 60 million years ago. That idea was impossible under everything science currently understands about Earth's history. Humans did not exist then. Mammals had not yet risen to dominance. Nothing known should have been capable of making, placing, or preserving figures like these. Experts struggled to explain what the scan had captured. Were they statues, fossils, something artificial, or something far stranger? Ordinary materials could not survive the extreme heat of molten lava, which can reach temperatures above 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Yet the figures appeared intact. The discovery quickly transformed from a geological mystery into something much bigger. It challenged history, biology, and even the boundary between legend and evidence. That first scan did more than reveal a hidden chamber. It opened a terrifying possibility. Something ancient, impossible, and deliberately concealed had been waiting inside the giant's causeway all along. The deeper we peer into the stone, the more the boundary between known science and the unknown begins to fade. Advanced scans and living cocoons. The initial discovery of 7 figures sealed in the volcanic rock shocked even the most seasoned geologists. But what came next challenged every conventional understanding of geology and biology. The following day, Dr. Ian Gallagher, a geophysicist with 3 decades of deep subsurface imaging experience, arrived with higher resolution scanning equipment. His calm professionalism was tested within minutes. As the refined images revealed, the figures were not solid statues but hollow shells, fragile, cocoon-like structures with empty interiors. This revelation sent ripples through the research team. The outer casings appeared structurally sound, intact despite having been encased in molten lava that once reached temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Traditional science dictates that no organic or synthetic material could survive such conditions, let alone retain this level of preservation. Whatever these shells were made of, they defied all known natural and manufactured materials. The concept of living cocoons inside ancient basalt seemed extraordinary, almost beyond belief. The sheer improbability of these forms existing alongside extinct dinosaurs raised profound questions. What were these beings? Were they remnants of an unknown ancient life form, or merely an artifact of some lost technology? The enigma blurred the boundaries between paleontology, geology, and something far more alien. Gallagher kept the data on encrypted drives before leaving the cliff, but somehow the news didn't stay locked up for long. Within hours, government agencies started a quiet yet swift response, as if it was already planned. Encrypted messages, closed-door meetings, and coordinated official statements all appeared back to back. Publicly, the whole incident was pushed off as a trick of light and weather, so they could insist that no hollow chamber or strange effects were really there. Dr. Sarah Brennan herself refused to back the government's report, even though it ran straight into her own observations and raw data. The draft statement was put aside, but it never got signed, and that alone showed a rare kind of rift between scientific integrity and political pressure. Brennan's later resignation basically emphasized how serious the suppression was and how large the thing they had found actually might be. Behind closed doors, the scientists kept circling the same questions, maybe too many times. If the numbers suggested leftover heat signatures or some kind of living biological activity, then it could rewrite what we thought we knew about life on Earth. This wasn't just a geological novelty. It looked like a monumental archaeological as well as biological puzzle, with consequences that could spread much farther than any single region. The urge to contain the information kept building, and the unofficial warnings made it pretty clear that they wanted silence, not debate. The public, though, stayed in the dark. Tourists still poured toward the causeway, without any clue that under their feet and behind the rock face there were cocoons, glowing with an odd, persistent warmth. The clash between myth and science kept widening, because the giant's legend somehow braided itself with real, unexplained events, and nobody could quite say which part was the story and which part was the truth. Each scan seemed to peel back another layer of the unknown, hinting at a story locked for millions of years, poised now on the edge of revelation or oblivion. The official denial and cover-up. Despite the growing evidence, the official response came fast, and it was strangely dismissive. Within 2 days of the advanced scans, environmental agencies arrived at the Giant's Causeway and released a statement claiming the drone footage was nothing more than light reflecting off wet basalt. They insisted no hollow chamber, hidden figures, or unusual activity had been detected. But that explanation directly contradicted the raw scan data collected by the research team. Dr. Sarah Brennan refused to sign the official report. To her, the denial was not science. It was control. Shortly after, she resigned from her university position, a move many saw as a quiet protest against the suppression of the discovery. For months, she worked privately on a paper that documented the chamber, the figures, the heat readings, and the unexplained pulses beneath the rock. She hoped peer review would force the truth into the open. Instead, Geological Survey Ireland rejected her submission almost immediately. The reason given was faulty equipment and flawed methods. But according to Brennan, no one addressed the actual data. Off the record, she was told the real problem was political. Officials feared the discovery would cause panic and destroy accepted scientific timelines. Heat signatures and heartbeat-like vibrations coming from figures sealed inside ancient volcanic rock were too dangerous to release. If true, it would mean something intelligent may have existed long before humanity was supposed to appear. Soon after, steel barriers were placed around the cliff. Warning signs blamed coastal erosion, but insiders believed the real purpose was to block access and stop independent investigation. The site had effectively been quarantined. Researchers involved in the case were ordered to remain silent. No interviews, no publications, no social media posts. Anyone who spoke risked losing their career. Still, some quietly kept copies of the scans, thermal logs, and images, protecting the evidence from disappearing completely. The cover-up only made the mystery darker. What began as a strange geological discovery had become a battle over truth, power, and control. In the silence that followed, those closest to the secret were left with one terrifying thought. The world was not being protected from a rumor. What the next scans revealed soon hinted at forces moving beyond containment, as secrets long sealed deep in stone began to stir once more. The vanishing giant and ominous signs. Days after the first scans revealed 7 hollow figures inside the basalt chamber, Dr. Sarah Brennan returned for a follow-up scan. She expected to confirm the discovery and rule out any technical errors. Instead, the new images showed something impossible. One figure had vanished. Only 6 remained. There were no cracks in the chamber, no fallen stone, no dust trail, and no disturbance around the sealed rock. Motion-activated cameras confirmed the stone door had not opened again. Yet somehow, a 7-foot figure had disappeared from inside a locked chamber buried behind solid basalt. That moment changed everything. The team could no longer treat the figures as ancient statues or strange geological formations. Something inside that chamber was active. Something was moving beyond explanation. After that, the thermal scans made the whole thing even darker, sort of like the mystery sank deeper into itself. Dr. Neil Callahan picked up heat signals coming from the 6 remaining figures. The numbers stayed around 99 degrees Fahrenheit, nearly the same as everyday human body heat. But inside a stone chamber that was freezing, open to that cold Atlantic air, it should have been, not allowed to happen. Not long after, vibration sensors detected a steady pulse under the rock. It came back every 4 seconds, like a tired heartbeat. Even more unsettling, every pulse lined up with those 6 figures. They weren't just warm, they were aligned, in a way that felt almost synchronized, like they were breathing the same rhythm. Then, at intervals of 72 hours, the new scans revealed small shifts in their placement. The figures were slowly gathering closer together, inching toward the sealed stone door. What used to look like a frozen cluster now looked more like a group, quietly arranging themselves, like they were close to starting up. The researchers ran through every plausible cause: tides, lunar rhythms, seismic pressure, geothermal power, you name it. Nothing fit. Nothing matched that repeating pattern. The motion seemed to be coming from within, not from outside forces pushing or pulling them around. And then, out of nowhere, the whole investigation was shut down. The monitoring gear was taken away, steel barriers went up around the site, and the warning signs blamed coastal erosion as if it were all simple. Still, copies of the data survived. In the last scan, there was just one figure, only a few feet from the door, its heartbeat getting louder, stronger, faster. What started as a startling crack in ancient rock has grown into a mystery that could rewrite history and challenge everything we think we know about life on Earth. Sealed figures locked away for millions of years now pulse with life, shifting closer to a door that may soon open again. If these revelations fascinate you, please like, subscribe, and watch the next video shown on the screen, because the next mystery may reveal what happens when ancient secrets refuse to stay buried.